of the chat. So anyone doing any questions in the Q&A portion of this, those will be also identified. And then this is the general notice about public records. Information provided, including public comments, to the City of Seattle is considered a public record and may be subject to public disclosure upon request. And for more information about the Public Records Act of the State of Washington, you can look up on this link. This will be posted also, this whole presentation, RCW Chapter 4256. So if you want to get more information about what that's all about and get some details, that's where it is. And if you'll do the next slide for me. We're just going to do some overview. So for those of you, this is repeat, apologies, but we just want to set the table here about what we're here to talk about today and what this is all about. We have a surveillance ordinance in place at the City of Seattle, went into place in 2017, and defines surveillance as technologies that observe or analyze the movements, behaviors, or actions of identifiable individuals in a manner that is reasonably likely to raise concerns about civil liberties, freedom of speech or association, racial equity, or social justice. And to be clear, certain technologies were excluded because they're either covered under other policy or did not reach the definition that Council was concerned about at the time. Body-worn cameras, technologies for everyday use like phones, security cameras, red light cameras, those kinds of things are excluded from the law. And if you want a complete rundown on the City of Seattle's law, the ordinance, we have links on privacy at Seattle.gov that can give you more information and show you some of the past technologies that have been reviewed. So if you go on to the next slide, Omari. Here's what's going to happen today. We're going to give you some background on this platform, and that won't take too long, but then we're going to turn this over to Seattle Police Department, and they're going to do a short presentation on the technologies that are currently in use that we're going to be talking about today. There might have been some confusion about, are these new technologies we're acquiring? These are not. We are reviewing technologies that are in use or are used on behalf of police and have been for a while now. And the three that we're going to talk about are video recording systems. Those are the video recording systems used on police premises, in interview rooms, etc. A infrared camera that is used on our behalf by King County, and it's mounted on a helicopter, and there are some other technologies available on that helicopter that are used at the request of Seattle Police Department. So that while we do not own a helicopter with this technology, we do request and a mutual aid request to King County. And finally, situational awareness cameras without recording that are used by our SWAT teams and task force to help with situational awareness, and we'll talk a little bit more about those. So police will present what these are and why these are, and then we'll have an opportunity after we're done for public comment, voicing any issues you'd like us to be aware of. And those public comments will be included in the review that will be presented to City Council as they consider the policies that these technologies are used under, the data that they collect and how they're used, and if they have any requests about anything that should be considered as they review and consider approval for continued use of those technologies. We're going to be limiting our conversation to these technologies today. We have some ways for you to communicate if you have other issues you'd like to make sure you have your voice heard about, but we're going to ask folks that are participating and providing public comment to please try to confine your comments to these three technologies, as that's what we're on task to do for today. And I believe, Omari, is it my turn to turn this over to you now? Oh, I have one more, very important, ground rules. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to ask attendees, just as if we were in a public meeting together in a shared space, to please adhere to the ground rules we have, public meeting code of conduct. The first is be respectful of diverse opinions and experiences, so that we can all listen and hear each other. Be an active listener during presentations so that you take in information that you will then hopefully be able to comment about. If anyone is exhibiting disruptive behavior, intimidation, aggression, we may have to mute you. The way this technology works, everyone's muted going in, and then we will unmute you to make a comment. But if we find the comment is out of bounds, then we may have to do that. If we do have to make that step, then we'll provide a way for you to make a comment online or by letter or some other means so that your voice is heard. And then we ask folks, although we only have, 13, that's good. Please keep your comments brief so that others will have a chance to talk, and please try to keep them related to the technologies that we're focusing on to allow everybody an opportunity to be heard. We are very much looking forward to hearing what you have to say, and really hoping that this is a new and improved way to get those comments made, since we can't be together due to COVID. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to Omari. He's going to give you some more information, and then we'll get on to listening to our friends from the police department. Okay, Omari.
Thank you, Ginger, and hello and welcome everyone to our first virtual public engagement meeting. So hoping it goes well. Like Ginger mentioned, we are using the Webex platform for this public engagement meeting. So I wanted to quickly kind of go over some of the platform overview. As Ginger mentioned, due to the nature of this kind of live event platform, all of the attendees will be muted. With the opportunity later in the public comment to have your hand raised, and then we will unmute you when your hand is raised, kind of in a queue order, so that you can go ahead and discuss, ask questions, provide your public comment, etc. We also have a Q&A window open that you can submit questions, and then we will be answering using those to answer other public questions as well. So you can see here just a brief run through of we will unmute you, so you won't have to necessarily worry about where the mute button is. But if you are finished speaking and want to mute yourself before the next person moves on, before you're muted again, then there's instructions on the screen there. Also, just kind of a brief overview of the chat. The chat and Q&A function are very similar. I don't think that the chat is kind of open and enabled right now, so we'll be using the Q&A function for that purpose. And then just a little bit of information on the side here about troubleshooting audio if you're having any audio issues. Webex does have the ability to use a mobile device instead of a computer audio, so you can dial in and continue listening to the meeting or provide comment for anyone who was dialed in that way. And for our dial-in attendees, I think we have a few. The meeting has started, so if you have a question during the public comment period, you can press *3, and that will raise your hand and put you in the queue for public comment. And once you have done that, you will hear a audio confirmation that says you have raised your hand to ask a question. The host, myself, and the moderation team will see that, and then we will call on you to provide your public comment, and you'll be unmuted for that. If you want to hear other commands that you can do during the meeting, you can press the star button twice, **, and then a voice prompt should provide you with more information about other commands that you can do. And then finally, if you no longer want to ask a question or your question's already been answered and we haven't, remuted you and you need to lower your hand, you can press *3 again to lower your hand. And again, you will have a audio confirmation that you have lowered your hand and kind of have exited the queue. So normally if we were in person, we would be passing around comment cards and demographic cards because the ordinance does require us to collect demographics on who attended these public engagement meetings. So unfortunately, we're not able to provide you with written comments, but we do have the exact same format online via SurveyMonkey. We have this link here. This link is also available on our website, Seattle.gov/surveillance, and you'll be able to provide comment that way on these technologies as well as answer your demographic questions that are required by the ordinance. We are also taking good old-fashioned United States Postal Service mail. So if you have a comment or letter that you would wish to mail in, you can go ahead and mail it to that address on screen. I think that is also available on our website. And we also recognize that there may be additional comments or concerns that are not specifically about these three technologies, but maybe about surveillance in general or other concerns that you may have. So we wanted to provide you with some other resources, including how to contact your council member. So we have some resources here to help you find your council district and council member if you don't know, and also providing an email address to email city council with any concerns, as well as a link to a page on the Seattle Police Department's website that allows you to file a general inquiry, or if you have a complaint about something specific, or other ways to get in contact with the Seattle Police Department. We also have links for that to provide additional unrelated comments to these three technologies. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to my colleague Miriam at the Seattle Police Department, who is going to be introducing their team and get going on the SPD presentation. So Miriam, take it away.
Thank you very much, Amari. My name is Miriam Von Ashton-Cook, and I'm a strategic advisor with the Seattle Police Department. And we can go ahead and move to the next slide. We will be talking about the three technologies today. But I would like to remind everybody of the Seattle Police Department's mission. Our mission is to prevent crime, enforce the law, and support quality public safety by delivering respectful, professional, and dependable police services. And so with that, I would like to introduce our first subject matter expert. We can move on to the next slide, please. Yes, for the video recording systems, we have Detective Alan Cruz with the Homicide Unit, who will be our subject matter expert for the the cameras in the interview rooms, the Gentech system. And we have Jeff Gwynn with the City of Seattle Information Technology for the support of the blood alcohol collection room and holding cells camera systems, the Milestone system. Gentlemen, take it away, please.
So for the video recording systems, they're used to record and or monitor members of the public in specific secure locations within SPD facilities. The first system is the Milestone video management system, which covers the blood alcohol collection rooms and the precinct holding cells. The second system is the Gentech video management system, which is used in interview and lineup rooms. Why do we use these technologies? To create a visual record of activities in the interview rooms, BAC rooms, and precinct holding cells, to prevent disputes about how interviews are conducted or how suspects, victims, and witnesses are treated, and to enhance SPD accountability in the community and enhance confidence in SPD practices. How these systems work: the Gentech video management system includes camera and microphone equipment that is permanently installed in the interview rooms on the 6th and 7th floor of SPD headquarters. Milestone video management software and products consist of cameras located in BAC rooms and precinct holding cells throughout SPD facilities. Looks like we're behind 2 slides. Can you advance 2 slides? Back one, there you go. Signs are then posted that inform employees and members of the public that cameras and recording devices are present. And in regards to recording data storage, for Gentech, after an interview is conducted, the recording of the interview is copied to a high-quality evidence-grade DVD. This evidence-grade disk is then submitted into the SPD evidence section as a standard item of evidence. Standard evidence retention rules are then followed. For Milestone, the recordings are made by the Milestone system. The request by an authorized party for specific footage is made for criminal or internal investigations. The recordings are held for a minimum of 120 and a maximum of 217 days, unless used as evidence in a particular case. For policies governing use of these technologies, we have the recorded statements, which is SPD policy 7.110, evidence, which is SPD policy 7.090, use of department-owned devices, software, which is SPD policy 12.040, access to criminal justice information and records, which is SPD policies 12.050 and 12.080, use of department email and internet, which is SPD policy 12.110, and use of cloud storage services, which is SPD policy 12.111.
Thank you very much. And also, yes, these presentations will be shared afterward. That was a question that came in. Also, the full text of those SPD policies are available via that link that will be posted in with the rest of this presentation. So our next technology that we're going to be presenting is the forward-looking infrared real-time video, or FLIR, which is mounted on the King County Sheriff's Office helicopter, which is provided through mutual agreement for use to SPD. Our subject matter expert is Detective Sonia Fry, and she will be telling us about this technology.
Forward-looking infrared real-time video, also known as FLIR, is on the King County Sheriff's Office helicopter. The King County Sheriff's Air Support Unit is the only full-time rotary wing law enforcement aviation unit in Washington State. The forward-looking infrared FLIR camera technology is housed within the Guardian 1 and Guardian 2 helicopters to provide an enhanced picture of incident scenes by layering heat signatures of individuals and objects on top of the aerial video. The FLIR technology allows for subjects to be detected even when obscured by clouds, haze, or darkness. Forward-looking infrared real-time video FLIR. How do we use this technology? We use it for rapid response to crime or disaster scenes. It provides a bird's eye view of events happening on the ground. FLIR technology also allows subjects to be detected even when obscured by clouds, haze, or darkness. How it works. King County Sheriff's Air Support Unit is operated by King County Sheriff's Office and is available to assist Seattle Police Department at no charge through the Puget Sound Regional Aviation Project and Seattle Urban Area Security Initiative, UASI. FLIR system uses heat emitted by subjects or objects to provide an enhancement to images of active scenes. The FLIR system cannot see into homes or other structures. Policies governing use. King County Sheriff's Office Air Support Unit SPD Policy 16.060, Evidence SPD Policy 7.090, Access to Criminal Justice Information and Records SPD Policies 12.050 and 12.080, Use of Department Email and Internet SPD Policy 12.110, and Use of Cloud Storage Services SPD Policy 12.111.
Thank you very much, Detective Fry. And the third technology that we are presenting today are the situational awareness cameras without recording. And Officer Adam Lossleben will be presenting this for us today.
Thank you. Situational awareness cameras without recording. Portable cameras that allow officers to observe around corners or other areas during tactical operations, where officers need to see the situation before entering an area of concern. We use robot-mounted cameras. The Avatar robot by Gentechs incorporates a 360-degree optical camera and is remote controlled by officers from a safe position on scene. The remote range of the Avatar robot is approximately 200 meters. Pole cams. Pole camera models are made by Tactical Electronics and Smith & Wesson. These are small portable cameras that can be extended in height to approximately 20 feet. They are typically handheld during their use and send secure images to the user's handheld remote monitor. Placeable cameras. Camera models are made by Remington and Tactical Electronics. They are small portable cameras designed to be placed in specific strategic locations and situations. These models also send secure images to the user's handheld remote monitor. Throwable cameras. Camera models are made by Remington and Tactical Electronics. These small rugged cameras are designed to be thrown into situations where access by SPD personnel is not possible. Like the pole cam and placeable cameras, the secure images are transmitted to the user's handheld remote monitor. Why do we use this technology? SPD's tactical units are situational awareness cameras to assess potential dangerous situations from a safe location. These cameras allow SPD to view surroundings and gain additional information prior to entering a location, providing additional safety and security to SPD personnel, the subjects of the observation, and other members of the community. Next slide, please. How do they work? Only members of SWAT are authorized to use the equipment and are specifically trained to use them. These cameras may be lowered or thrown into position, attached to a handheld pole, and extended around a corner or into an area. The cameras contain wireless transmitters that send images to nearby officers. No recordings are made using these cameras. Policies governing their use. Bias-free policing, SPD Policy 5.140. Standards and duties, SPD Policy 5.001. Specialty vehicles and equipment, SPD Policy 13.060.
And thank you all very much for the presentations. If there are any questions about these technologies, you can put it in the question and answer, or you can ask them during the public comment period, and we will stay on and answer any questions that we're able to.
Thank you, Miriam. And I wanted to, again, reiterate for folks that may have joined us recently on a call-in line that if you are called in, you may use *3 to raise your hand, and that will allow us to see that you have a pending question, and we will call on individuals one at a time in order to kind of keep going through the public comment. And the Q&A feature should be open, and you should be able to submit written questions that way as well.
There is a question that has come in about the King County helicopters. The question is, what are the regional tail registration/tail numbers for each helicopter? Within 2020, does or did the King County Sheriff's Office, ASU, have any additional helicopters besides the 3 listed in the SIR? The 3 that are listed in the SIR are the 3 helicopters that are listed on the King County Sheriff's Office Air Unit, Air Support Unit website as well. We are going to have to research that. King County helicopters are not, they're not owned by SPD and they're not operated by SPD. We don't have any specific information in at this time, but we can certainly research that. And Detective Fry, I think that this answer is that this question is also for you. Does SPD store the photos and recordings from the air support unit in evidence.com, not just in DEMS?
If there is a case where the video is requested, it would be stored in evidence. Otherwise, we do not store, house, maintain any of the video.
Okay, and the other question, are there any other helicopters other than Guardian 1 and Guardian 2 that are part of this program?
We have other partners with Snohomish, Pierce County, Coast Guard, WSP, some are fixed wing as well.
Next question. Sorry, they're just sliding down here. Okay. Are there specific policies curtailing the use of helicopters for things, including but not limited to surveillance of protesters?
You would have to review our policies.
There is a policy, and it was listed in the document, that specifically defines the use of the King County Sheriff's Office air unit, air support unit, and that is part of the SPD policy that is listed. Omari, this is a little bit of housekeeping. I seem to be having some difficulty seeing questions. Are you able to see the questions as they slide down in my view? I'm not able to see the ones that are previous.
Yeah, right now I see, I might have to, so the ones, I think we answered the ones on the evidence.com and digital evidence management system, is that correct? Jennifer had a question about the policies on FLIR, including protesters, and then I think Phoebe had some follow-up with asking if only 2 King County helicopters are outfitted with the FLIR technology, and then another follow-up saying that there were only 2 helicopters listed in the presentation. So I think a little bit of clarity around that. is the question.
And I believe that Sonia, Detective Fry, that there are 3 helicopters that are designated as Guardian 1 and Guardian 2. Is that correct?
I can't speak specifically for what King County has. I know they have the King County 1 and King County 2 for sure. Again, they're not our assets. We don't buy them, we don't maintain them. So that would be a King County question.
Thank you.
Miriam, are you able to see other questions? This is Ginger, sorry.
I believe that I can see, let's see here. I think the last question that we have, that it says that, the last question that I can see says the policy is included, don't list any restrictions. So I'm wondering if there are off-limit use cases regarding the King County Sheriff's helicopters.
There's also a question from Cynthia as well regarding the digital evidence management system. So I think the Q&A doesn't auto update. You kind of have to scroll down, I guess, to see questions as they come in. So I think I'll pose Cynthia's questions to SPD first, since it came in first. So the question is, I'll read it out loud: is SPD's digital evidence management system, DEMS, an on-premise deployment, or is it software as a service, like how evidence.com is a SaaS solution?
I think that we may need to follow up with that. That's actually not one of the, we don't have a subject matter expert on the DEMS system or evidence.com in this presentation. So we'll have to follow up with the answer for that.
And one of this, as we are getting follow-ups to several of these questions, when we post this presentation, we will also include questions and answers for access. So Cynthia, we'll make sure at the end of this, we post where these things are going to be found, give us a day or two, but where all of this will be found for follow-up with you. And anyone else who has questions or wants answers.
There's a follow-up on the King County Sheriff's Office helicopters. And it's to elaborate on that last question. What would make SPD or King County Sheriff's Office say no to the use of FLIR on the helicopters or the helicopter use? Is there any, at any point, I guess I'm asking the question, is there any point that we would, that SPD would decline the assistance from the air unit?
Would either agency decline use? Is there any reason that there would be a no from either side, is what I'm reading here?
So each case is requested by the Seattle Police Department for King County, and that goes through the chain of command. So it would depend on what the incident is.
So you're a chain of command approval process that makes a determination whether to make a request, and then King County goes through a process to determine whether they approve.
If the helicopter was available and if it was something that would fit the mission or whatever the request was. So that's a very big question I don't have an answer for.
Okay.
There's a question is, I think that it says, so today it's proposed regular patrol units will get to use this infrared technology. The technology that we're speaking about today is specifically the FLIR that is mounted and located on the King County Sheriff's helicopter. We're not talking about any other FLIR technology, just the one that's mounted in the helicopter units.
And that is not available to regular patrol units, Miriam, I think is what she's trying. Is that correct? That is the question that I think she's asking.
Detective Fry, is this technology available to regular patrol units?
It is available to regular patrol, but it has to go through the chain of command for approval for us to contact King County Helicopter to come out to our crime scenes, to our lost person calls. So it goes through approval process. And they also have to make sure that they have personnel flying as well. So
Okay.
it's all through approval process.
Miriam, the next question I see speaks to, I think, an answer we had. Someone had already answered this, but how long does SPD retain still images and recordings provided by King County Air Support?
Recordings, they're only, our recordings are only picked up if there's a crime and submitted into evidence. We don't house anything at SPD. Everything is on King County servers. And I don't know what their retention or disposition policy is. So only recordings that SPD would have is something that's in regards to a criminal case or an investigation.
And it would follow that retention policy.
And it would follow our SPD policies.
For data that are published. Okay.
And I believe that there's another question. Will this panel coordinate a follow-up discussion with King County Sheriff? This is actually just a public comment and a presentation on the technologies for SPD use. And this panel does not govern in any way or make policy recommendations to the King County Sheriff's Office.
I see a question about charging. I think we saw that this was a free service, or they do not charge. King County does not charge for this. Is that correct? I think we heard that.
Correct.
Great.
It's mutual aid.
Mutual aid. Do you see the question about SPD deleting data collected that is not directly relevant to an investigation? For example, people on rooftops of their homes, is that part of the recording deleted by SPD or KCSO?
King County maintains their own video.
Yeah, okay. So they have their own retention policies regarding the information collected, and we have ours according to investigation data retention schedules. Right. The question about the cost to utilize the helicopters, that is what mutual aid is. There's no charge back to Seattle, correct?
You don't know what any associated cost is. The King County Aviation Program is not a Seattle Police Department.
Okay, we've answered that. Okay.
And there's another question that comes in. The draft surveillance impact report mentions 45 deployments and their final CAD types of the Guardian 1 to support SPD in 2018. What neighborhoods were they deployed over? I don't believe that we have that information here, but that can certainly be delivered through a public records request as far as the locations of that type of information. But I don't believe that we have that actually available to us at this time in this meeting.
Miriam, are you able to see other questions?
There we go. It looks like I have a little bit of a delay before I see them.
Yeah.
And so the question is, King County Sheriff's Office pays for SPD surveillance? Question mark. again, I believe it's a mutual agreement for the use of the helicopter support, the air support. Question, does or has SPD ever used the helicopters to surveil protesters?
That would have to be a PDR question.
And by PDR, you mean public disclosure request question, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
The next question is, what are the complete model names numbers for each of the equipment in scope for the situational awareness cameras SIR?
I don't have that with me right now.
We will have to follow up with that question as well.
Okay. Phoebe has asked the same question a few times. Phoebe, I think the answer for you is there is no cost, no chargeback to the city of Seattle for the use of King County helicopters. I hope that completes that answer for you. Okay, good. I'm unable to write in this Q&A, so otherwise I'd answer to you that way, but I'm seeing I'm not able to answer you directly in writing, so.
Following up on the question regarding data deletion, when SPD receives data from, that just flipped down on me. I'm sorry. There we go. When SPD receives data from King County Sheriff's Office, how does SPD determine how to delete, quote, non-relevant information?
So if it's not a requested video, then it's just live stream and we don't retain anything.
The next question is, what technical safeguards are in place to prevent the storage or retention of images and video from the situational awareness cameras?
Every one of those cameras, whether it's the throwable cameras, the placeable ones, the pole cam, or the avatar, there is nothing in there, no hard drive, nothing at all to be able to record anything, no record buttons. It's just a live stream sent from the camera to a monitor that an officer holds. There's no way we could record it.
I'm not seeing any more. Oh, there we go.
In answer to a question 7.3 in the surveillance impact report, says the SWAT unit have mitigated the risk of improper viewing of the protected areas. How specifically have they mitigated the risk?
I'm not even sure what you're asking there.
I think the question is, it's in reference to if there was an improper area to record, how does, I guess the question is, how does SWAT determine if there is an improper area to record, if there's some place that it would not be proper for SPD to view? How does SWAT make sure that they are not in a private area? If you needed a warrant for a private area to view a private area, how would you mitigate that risk?
Oh, that's an easy answer. We only ever use those cameras once the search warrant is signed by a judge.
If the King County Sheriff's Office sends over a requested video to SPD, are there procedures in place to delete as much information as possible that is not relevant to the investigation?
I'm not quite sure what they're asking specifically.
Would it be possible for you to clarify that question a little bit, please?
Jen, are you speaking to redaction of extraneous video that may be picked up in the course? Okay. I think what Jennifer is asking is if there is extraneous video as you're flying toward a target or toward the area where you're going to be doing videoing or requested videoing for King County, if there's extraneous images, are those deleted, redacted, or how do you focus in on what you need? Is there any capability to kind of, if you picked up somebody walking down the street and that wasn't really what you were targeting, you were looking in another area, does that video of the individual or the infrared of an individual just in the area get redacted or deleted?
So anything that's in a case is evidence, and so it's up to the case detective to determine the date and time, and then that request will be sent to King County, and then they will forward the requested video. And there's no altering it because it's evidence.
Yeah, I think they were saying if there was extra, for any reason, catching extraneous images, extraneous video, they would send what was required during a time period, is what I'm hearing.
Correct.
And that's part of how you limit what is retained or collected or sent.
Correct. So it probably would not show the entire flight of Guardian 1. It would just be specific timeframes that a case detective requested for their specific case.
Okay. Okay, I see a couple of questions here. SPD manual, what sections specifically cover the use of the situational awareness cameras by SWAT? The surnames part of SPD manual, but none specifically cover these SWAT technologies.
I don't have the manual in front of me right now. All I can tell you is that they are only used once we have a signed warrant from a judge to either search a location or arrest a subject. Otherwise, they are not used.
Okay. Comment by Phoebe about frustrated that SP doesn't feel supported, recruiting new officers. Thank you for that comment. From Jen Lee, how long can the time frame be? I think you're speaking back to the requested video from King County. Yeah, okay. Is there a time frame limit on what might be requested in an investigation? For example, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, or is it dependent on the nature of the investigation? Is there any parameter there? That's, I think, what she's getting at.
Is that for King County or SWAT?
Well, I think, yeah, if you make a request, are these investigations open-ended? I mean, I can't fly a helicopter forever, so I'm imagining you have some time frame that you're probably working with. I think she's just asking, is there a time frame around video or infrared video data collection?
Question for King County. I don't know how long their video is kept.
Okay. Do any of the Gentech or Milestone related cameras have their passwords still set to the manufacturer's default value? Let's hope nobody's doing that anymore, right?
That's an open-ended question. No, those are normally set.
Those are reset from the manufacturer's standard 111 or whatever it is. Okay. Jen is clarifying. My question is, can SPD request a video for a specific length of time? Are there any parameters at all?
It depends on the case detective what they request.
Okay. they set the parameter, I need to know the next 2 hours, or I think something's happening in the next hour, or something like that. And for as long as the helicopter, I imagine, can be aloft.
Well, usually if there's an investigation, they would have to have some time frame.
Okay.
Detective Fry, it's requested after the fact, correct? It's not,
Yeah.
we want to go and record for the next 2 hours. It's, there was an event that happened and I want the video from this time to this time on this specific date. Is that correct?
It just depends on whatever needs to be done in terms of investigation. If they know that if there was an operation that was going to happen, let's say a drug buy, or let's say there was, most of the time it's past events that they request because it's not assigned to a detective until later.
Okay. So Jen's getting at this again. SPD, can they request a video for 6 hours or 10 hours? I think it's whatever was collected at the time, Jen, is what I'm hearing. I don't think it's you put an order in for a certain data collection period of time in advance. I think it's what was collected for past events. Is that correct? Interpretation, SPD panel?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I see a question from Cynthia. Does SPD use the Gentech partner add-on that enables facial recognition or other biometric data collection identification?
No.
There is no facial recognition going on at SPD at this time, Cynthia. Okay. All right, Cynthia's asking, does SPD use Gentech Stratocast camera connection and or cloud archive services? Are they using only on-prem systems for Gentech? And then same question for Milestone X Project VMS, only using on-prem, or are they using any of their cloud services on AWS?
On-prem only.
Okay.
For Milestone.
Yep. For Milestone, same for Gentech for the Stratocast cameras, or?
Not using any cloud. I'm not sure what the Stratocast cameras are.
Oh, okay. Gentech, sorry. I think that's what's probably listed in the SIR. I think Cynthia has in front of her. So Gentech's cameras, I think is what she's asking. Jen, we are going to go through these questions and capture the answers, and any that did not have answers here, we're making notes, and we will put those in the, make those available at the end where this will be posted. So we'll make sure that you see the answers for what we're able to provide you, okay? Phoebe, there is no facial recognition in use at the City of Seattle Police Department.
Cynthia is also asking, does SPD use Gentech Security Center Mobile or Milestone's X Protect Mobile?
For the Gentech, that's no, we do not use anything mobile.
Not for Milestone either.
Okay.
We have one more question. Are either the Gentech or Milestone complete systems, including cameras, servers, and workstations, located on an SPD network subnet that allows ingress or egress internet access? That is, are they on networks firewalled off from the internet?
For the Genetech, it's not connected to the internet or any network.
For Milestone, it is on the SPD network and behind the SPD's firewall.
And Phoebe asked the question, continued approval. Are these technologies in use now? Yes, these technologies are currently in use now. And they are part of the surveillance impact report process. And these surveillance impact reports are going to be submitted to the City Council.
Phoebe will look into the comment online. It was functioning, so I'll see if something's happened along the way, and Amari will take lead on that to make sure that comments are available online.
We have another question. Has SPD followed all the security configuration recommendations provided by Gentech in their best practices document, especially considering they are not following best practices is what likely led to looks like another department had a Gentech CCTV's problem. So I guess the question is, are we is SPD following Genetech's best practices?
Yeah, it was installed by a Genetech certified installer, purchased from a vendor that specializes in that particular product. But to the best of my knowledge, yes.
We are down to our last couple minutes here for this session. So for anything that is not answered or has not been answered, we will be going through these questions on anything that needs to be answered, and this will be posted with this on our with this presentation and a transcript of the event here so that you can have access to those. We will be continuing to take public comment through, I think it's the 11th or 12th of November, to ensure that we have all of your concerns logged and can include those in our report to City Council. So privacy at Seattle.gov will get you to the surveillance link. We have other more direct links that are available. Omari has put into the chat or into the question and answer that you can comment on the 3 technologies today, and that is the link he's put into the Q&A for you to access that. So we are at our hour. I want to thank everyone who's attended. There is obviously a lot of concern about some of the technologies that we are using, and we hope you got some answers today, and we'll have an opportunity to continue to check in for the reviews as they occur on other technologies that are coming up. Please do provide your comments. We want to hear from you, and Council wants to hear from you. So with that, I think we will close this session. Thank you again for your participation, and have a really good rest of the day.
Thank you for attending, everyone.